Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Radio Geonosis, where we talk about Star Wars from a certain point of view. I'm Angie.
I'm David.
I'm Aaron. What's going on, guys?
I almost forgot it.
And today we're going to be talking about kissing and couples. But before we do that, David is David is going to be David is going to be telling us the hot happenings in Star Wars this week.
All right. So, first off, getting out of the gate, spoilers for Rebels. Spoilers. So, if you haven't seen it, just skip like 10 minutes ahead or whatever. But you have been warned. I don't want to hear crap about it. So, the last two episodes, not the last two episodes of seasons, but the last two episodes of the series currently came out this week. Next week is the finale. It's going to be an hour and a half long, and that's it for Rebels. But this week, some awesome stuff's happened. So,
do tell.
I won't go into every detail of what led up to the events, but essentially, Ezra went back to the Jedi Temple on Lothal, per wishes of the Force through the Loth Wolves. And while there, he and Sabine were able to activate a portal that took him in between time and space. And while there,
Almost like Back to the Future.
pretty much. While there, though, another portal opened inside there that aired, I guess you could say, the fight between Vader and Ahsoka on the Temple of Malachor, and Ezra was able to reach through the portal and save Ahsoka, which is
Woo!
Awesome.
That means she's back.
Yeah.
I mean, I never thought she was gone. I never thought she was gone.
Yeah.
I'm excited because
she's back.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's one of my top 3 favorite characters, and I don't think she's gonna be in Rebels next week very much. If anything, she might appear, but as her being like integral to the ending of the series, I don't think she'll be in it much.
Did you expect to see her this week?
I didn't.
Okay, so then I think she may.
Something. I knew I expected
You
to
wanted
see.
to.
Yeah,
You
you
wanted to.
may not even know.
Well,
She may show up in next week's show.
I didn't expect to see her like as a physical form Ahsoka, but I expected to see something because all the first in the trailer for the rest of the season that they did a few months ago, and then in the trailer for these 2 episodes coming up, they showed the I forget the name of the animal, but the basically the Force owl that has been with her every episode she's been in some form or another in Rebels this over the past few seasons. So I expected like something about Ahsoka would happen, but I didn't expect they would bring Ahsoka back. I hoped for it.
I'm glad they did.
But I didn't expect it. So, but I think she's going to be integral coming from this point on in general.
Now you wonder
because-
if Darth Maul's going to come back.
No, he's dead. He's dead. Which is
It's a
good. It's not good that he's dead because he was a crappy character or anything. I loved him, but the way he was sent off in the last season of Rebels in an emotional duel, it wasn't really a duel. Obi-Wan like got him.
Yeah.
But in an emotional
He got
way,
him last.
it was.
He got him in the very first movie.
Yeah,
He did, and he came back.
he came
That's
back.
right.
But no, he's gone now, and it was a good send off for Darth Maul.
Okay.
Right,
was-
another Phantom Menace.
That dueling conversations on YouTube too. I think the actual Star Wars Rebels or Star Wars account has it posted. That's one to watch if nobody's
He's
ever
not
seen
coming
it.
back.
Yeah, no, he's not coming back. He's not coming back.
But
which-
Ahsoka came back.
Ahsoka came back, and the way Dave Filoni talked about, because he did an interview after the episode, or he released something after the episode, and I don't remember the exact words, but he basically said that she's a very interesting character, and there's a lot more you could do with her. So I have a feeling that whether or not she's in next week's episode, I think going on whether through more shows and whatever they have on their itinerary for upcoming shows, she's going to be a part of again. So
I tend to wonder if bringing her back alludes to the fact that she might even be in a movie.
I would like that, but I don't think so.
I would
Because
love
she
to see Ahsoka time in the movie.
Well, I would too, because if you're going to go a little bit past Rogue One and technically go past that, and then before A New Hope,
Yeah.
they could squeeze her in there.
Yeah.
I mean, they could even squeeze her in after Return of the Jedi, because she's not old at all by any means. She's still.
Yeah. She's.
I mean, during Clone Wars, she was like between the ages of like 12 and 15 throughout that
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
series.
Yeah,
exactly.
she was very young.
So
She-
she, especially for Togruta too, because they're like an elder species in terms of their lifespan.
They
so
can live a long time.
yeah, so she's good. I mean, I don't think, as in a live action movie, I think they're starting to test the grounds a little more, like how they brought Saw Gerrera from Clone Wars
Right.
into Rogue One. I think they're testing the grounds, but her in a live action movie, I wouldn't say it's impossible because nothing's impossible. But I definitely don't think it's in the near or even moderate future.
Well,
which
if-
is a
if
shame because I
they-
would love an Ahsoka movie or even just a movie that she's in.
I think it's a
Yeah.
possibility because they had Shakti in Phantom Menace and
True.
in Revenge of the Sith.
Well, no, I don't mean like as the species, like portraying that. I mean just like her character because it's so ingrained in what people love about her through the Clone Wars and Rebels, like through the animation.
Right.
That I think it would be difficult to bring her to live action and keep the spirit of her
I
because
think
you're talking
they-
about recasting, even revoicing the character, all that, and I think.
Well, they could probably get someone close to that, but I mean, maybe the reason why they brought her back was to allude to the possibility of a movie or of
Maybe.
her because, like you said, Saw Gerrera.
But I think they're trying to keep them like they're all one universe. They're all canon. Like what happens in Rebels affects the movies and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But I think they're trying to keep the CGI and the television shows separate from the movies in the sense that it's like widening the base of the audience. Like you have people who watch the movies only but don't watch the shows. You have people who watch everything and appreciate it.
You got to watch
know.
everything. You got to.
So I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I would say it's highly
You need the
unlikely.
entire salad bar.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah. Yeah.
You can't just can't eat the carrots. You got to eat
I
everything.
could never understand how people could do that.
Besides,
when it
Dave
comes to this.
Filoni too is also her. He's like her, not master, but
Well, I mean,
he can like
he
that's
created
his baby,
yeah.
essentially. So I mean,
Throw enough
I
enough
think-
hundreds, things happen.
I think giving that character to there's rumors that Dave Filoni is going to get into live action Star Wars, whether it's movies or live action shows.
I think it would be smart.
Yeah. So, but until that's either confirmed or he does that, I think giving that character to anyone else to work on is not like in a hard way, but it's kind of like an insult to him because that's his. That's
Yeah, but
his. Out of
bringing
all
her
the stuff
to-
in Clone Wars and Rebels, that's his character.
But bringing her to life wouldn't be a Well, is she tall? Because I know that Ashley Eckstein is, almost 5'2", 5'3".
Yeah, she's
She's
small.
not very tall.
She's not really-
but
not
I mean,
really
I don't know if Ahsoka is tall or is she.
Ahsoka looks wiry. She does look.
yeah, she does look
lanky.
tall. I mean, I think she's.
her mature.
I want to say she might be even taller than Kanan, but I'm not 100% sure. I have to watch.
She looks pretty lanky.
The episode where they are stealing the Force babies and her, Kanan, and Ezra are together trying to do that because they're in frames together frequently. So I'd have to watch it again. But I want to say she's at the height or maybe even taller than Kanan.
Wow.
Because I would say that too. I'd say get Ashley Eckstein. I mean, she's not really a live action actress, but if it worked out, I would say just do that because it's all makeup and CG at
Right.
that point.
yeah.
But I don't know. I would love to see an Ahsoka movie though. But I am just happy that she's back. I knew she would come back in some form or another, whether as a Force ghost, whether alive. I still am committed that she did die
I don't
on
think
Malachor.
so. I don't think she
I just
did.
think Ezra was able to change the timeline.
I just
So-
think, well, he was probably able to go back in a certain point of time and get her out. But
Yeah.
but when I saw her walk into the temple, I assumed that I knew she was still alive. I
Yeah.
knew she wasn't dead at
Yeah.
that point.
No, I have a feeling she died. But I have a feeling that was the way they did that though. Is it's like the best of both worlds. Nobody wants to see Ahsoka die, but in the back of your mind, you go, "It's great."
I did not
it's
have
great
the back
drama.
of my mind.
It's great story
she was alive
writing.
in the front and the back of my mind.
Well, no, it's great story writing.
Annie's
It's
a
great
huge
drama.
Ahsoka fan.
I am indeed.
I'm probably a bigger one than you, but like I said, it's
I have
it's
a
all about.
Togruta
It's
headpiece
always
in my
about.
house. Okay,
It's about the story. It's about fulfilling certain
actually have two
philosophies
of
and
them.
dramas.
No,
So I think killing her was a good thing, but you don't want her to die, so that's why you go back in time and pull her out. So it's like the best of both worlds. At that time in the show, you appeased a certain emotional state for everybody by allegedly killing her off, because it's still not confirmed. But I would say it was she died. But then you go back in the future, and after people have dealt with it, you bring her back because you could still use her. So
Yeah.
that's what I think.
So how many episodes are left?
2. One's 1 hour, one's 30 minutes. They're both next week, and that's it. No more Rebels after that. No more Rebels as in the series. I'm pretty sure that we may see Ezra, depending on what his fate is, Sabine, etc., Ahsoka. I'm pretty sure we're going to see those guys in
I'm
some
assuming
new series.
Ezra doesn't make it because there's really nothing.
More for him?
More for him in the. I've heard. There's really nothing I heard about him in the universe like beyond.
But you never know.
Which is true. Which is true with Star Wars. You never know.
Yeah, because I mean,
So-
a lot of people had assumed after season 2 that Ahsoka had died.
Yeah.
So, but now, you know,
Me personally, about I didn't think she died.
I didn't think so
That's
either.
that's just me though. I didn't think she died. I
No.
understand like I understand the ins and outs and everything of like, you know, the drama Star Wars creates, what
Right,
they want us
right.
to create, the thought provoking, you know, back and forths they want us to go through. I just personally didn't think that she died just because I feel like Ahsoka's the need for her is like really I feel that she's really, really important.
Right.
To the untold things we didn't see, the things that crazy things that she saw that we don't even, you know. I mean, I just think that she's really
I
important.
have a feeling that like future series or whatever might focus on her and Ezra together, maybe with or without other people that we know from the series like Rex and whatnot, but focused on them since like at this point in Rebels, the Empire is at its strongest.
Mm-hmm.
It is hunting these people down, etc., etc.
But
I have a
she-
feeling that after the finale, depending on what happens, if it goes a certain way, that they're going to kind of go back into hiding. Like they'll do like true guerrilla stuff, fighting wars or like protecting people, or and kind of have like she can't because she's not a Jedi, but kind of have like a master and apprentice role between the two of them going forward. I have a feeling it might do something
possibly.
like that. Like in the book, if you read the Ahsoka book, how she was really underground,
Yes.
like super underground. I have a feeling that they'll do.
But
like
I don't
something
know.
Like
She
that.
in the book, she kind of, you know, she's trying to protect people, and she finds it within herself to do it.
yeah.
Yes, to protect people, even the force-sensitive child.
Yeah. So I have
So
a feeling
she-
they'll do something like that. Maybe in the next series they do, if they bring Ahsoka and Ezra in, because
But in
you
the
have to make
book-
it to where he's not prominent because he's a Jedi and this is a time of no Jedi. But you want to keep him alive for story, and you want to keep her alive for story. So making them like really guerrilla warfare and underground more so than they were in Rebels would make sense.
I think, you know, in the end of the book, and I mean, I'm going to spoil that if you haven't
Go
read
ahead.
it.
Yeah.
She starts to work with Bail Organa.
Yeah.
So, you know, she does have a tie-in. She's got that. Bail and her have that one thing. They
That's
were
how she becomes
around,
Fulcrum.
right? But they were alive in the time of the Republic, and then with the Clone Wars, and so she understands how it's all coming together. Whereas some people, you know, they weren't born at that time. So now, you know, you have more people coming in, and they're born, and they're born in a different time where they didn't see what happened during that.
Yeah.
And she did. And
she
so
did,
she
yeah.
plays a really important role in keeping the rebels going, keeping the rebel spirit alive, wanting to Rebel Alliance, if you want to say, keeping that alive so that others will get motivated to say, hey, we want to become part of this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is before Luke and Leia are old enough
To even
you know, do anything. Because, you know, they're still babies at this point. So they can't make an impact, but she can.
Yeah, she can. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, so I'm excited for. I'm glad it's Thursday because the week's going by really fast. Because I know I'm gonna hate it because it's the ending of this series. But I'm excited to
And
see
you watch it over and over and over. Then you get more things out of it because you can watch the movies over and over, and you think, "Oh my gosh, I didn't see that in the movie before," or
Yeah.
"How did I miss that?" Or even me, I like to put on the subtitles because you read stuff that sometimes you don't hear it,
Yeah.
and I think, "Wow, did they really say that?" You know,
Yeah.
and so I think it's kind of cool to listen. To watch the movies that way, or even the cartoons, because Clone Wars, I started watching it like that too, where I put on the subtitles.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
can,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm reading it. I'm like, wait, I didn't hear that last time.
I watch it with the subtitles.
Yeah,
I do
watch it
too,
with
but
the
only because I'm
subtitles.
hearing it. I have to watch it with subtitles.
but it's cool. It's cool to to listen like that or to watch it like that because then you're like, hey, they say this and I didn't catch that last time. So
Yeah.
I that's just me.
Yeah.
And apparently that's you guys too.
Yeah.
You're not the only
But no, I
one.
will be
I'm not the
watching
only
it
one.
over and over again because I actually watch the series and like all the cartoons and stuff more like, well, not more because I've watched Star Wars more than it, but I enjoy watching the series and the shows over and over again more than the movies, only because there's a lot more content there.
Right. It seems like there's a lot of meat and
Not
potatoes
that
in
it's
there.
like better or worse, but I just prefer to watch it over and over.
No, I think all of them are great. I just think that in the Clone Wars and in Rebels, you're getting some of the things you would not see in the movies.
There's a lot of really cool like Easter eggs, especially in the Clone Wars. Like there's the episode where Ahsoka is kidnapped by the Trandoshans to like hunt, and like they're like released her on the planet. There's other Jedi Padawans there, and they're like hunting them. In the trophy room, there's like cool ones in there. Like there's a trophy in the trophy room on the ship. There's the Crystal Skull from Indiana Jones. Like that's why I like rewatching them too, because you find like a lot of cool.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to watch that.
I'm about to see that too.
I know. I'm like, what?
And the episode where they're training, it's like the first 2 or 3 episodes of one of the seasons where they're doing the ARC Trooper training, and like the squad keeps failing and everything. It's one with like 5s in a minute. The program, one of the training programs they use is THX 1138, which is one of Lucas's first movies he did.
Wow.
So like,
oh shit.
so like, there's a lot of cool Easter eggs. That's why I like rewatching it all the time. Cause there's a lot of cool Easter eggs.
Okay, I'm gonna
like
have to
that,
really look and see, because on top of the subtitles, now I'm gonna have to. But there's been a couple of times when I've actually clicked the changer the wrong way, and it's in Spanish or it's in French, and it makes me laugh because of the way it sounds. I'm like, wait. And no offense against people with different with Spanish or French or anything, but it just
it's still it kind of threw you off a little bit.
I'm like, what?
Agreed.
So today our topic is going to be kissing scenes and couples. So for me, because I'm going to go first, is since Obi-Wan and I are involved, I'm going to be talking about Obi-Wan. He is probably my favorite character, and I mean I really loved the young Obi-Wan. The older Obi-Wan is really a crack up. He's kind of a smart aleck, and kind of a really funny guy. And
Reminds me of Alfred.
Yeah, he's
been on that planet for 20 years. He ain't got crap for anybody anymore. He ain't time for that.
Well, he did have time for one girl there, but for me it was when I watched Clone Wars and I saw Obi-Wan with Duchess Satine. I mean, it really melted my heart. I could tell that there was something between them. But Obi-Wan has a list of ladies.
Oh, goodness.
Woo!
Through both canon and non-canon.
Yes, yes.
Through Legends and what's now lore.
That's
there's
right, that's
a bunch
right.
My hero.
Yeah, there's a bunch of twisted lady friends here. But he had a crush on 2 Jedi, and they were both of the girls were Padawans with him at the temple. So apparently there must have been hanky-panky going on at the temple that people didn't know about.
Well, they were allowed to have sex. They weren't allowed to marry or have emotional attachments, though.
Wow.
But I don't know if they were allowed to be physically intimate with other Jedi.
But they were allowed to with other beings?
But like other people in general. But I'd have to look, because there could be a rule that they weren't allowed with other Jedi at all.
Well,
but there could not be.
A one-night stand on Hoth never hurt anyone.
Well, they say that's how you keep warm on a frozen planet, I guess.
I believe so.
But the two Padawans were Bant and Siri. And he did have a thing for both of them. So, whoo. And for Cezanne?
Cersei?
Ooh, we gotta say that.
Seriously.
She was a human that he left the Jedi Order for. He was on a planet working, and this was Media Dan, I think that's what it was called, or Melinda Dan. And she was fighting for her world, and I think it kind of like took his heart. And when I was reading the book, it really captivated him about how much she loved her planet and what she was willing to do for it. So, Qui-Gon told him not to do it, but he left anyways. He left the Jedi Order for this girl. And then at the end of the book, he realized, I need to go back. And it took a while for him and Qui-Gon to rebuild their relationship. After that, he got dumped, man, and Qui-Gon got dumped, so he wasn't going to take him back right away.
Yeah.
But the relationship with him and Duchess Satine, that really was just it was just wonderful. I'm watching it on on the Clone
Clone
Wars.
Wars, yeah.
Yes, you could see the very first time he sees her and his eyes pop out.
Yeah.
I got the feelings. I mean, I got the feels for that. I'm like, woo! This man is in love.
Yeah. The
Again.
animosity between them two. Like, was
Yes.
heavy too.
Oh, it was like a love-hate
Yeah,
relationship.
yeah.
You have to wonder if they got involved because apparently the Jedi could be.
Yeah, they could do
They
it.
could have that one night stand.
I'm assuming they did.
But since it's a cartoon, you got to keep it PG. So
Well,
I mean, it depends on when they met
we could allow
too.
our
I
minds
mean,
to go there.
it depends. Like if they, I mean, I don't exactly remember how old they were when they met, but if they were super young too, it's like there's numerous factors,
Well,
but there's possibility.
Yeah.
he was a general at that time. So and Anakin was with him, so he could have been in his late 20s, early 30s, say.
Well,
That
no,
just-
when they first met, that was like years and years before the Clone Wars, because that's when I don't know how, but yeah, I have to look. I don't remember.
You're gonna have to Google that.
Yeah, because I know that they met way before the Clone Wars, and that was kind of like the whole thing is like
So
that's
when
the
he
first
sees
time
her
he's
again,
seeing her again.
Yeah,
in a
yeah,
while.
yeah.
That's why his eyes almost fall out of his head.
I think I remember him saying that when he was telling I believe he was telling Anakin that he stayed out where they were on a mission. They stayed out.
Oh
there
yeah, he
for
was
like
on a mission
year.
with Qui-Gon.
With Qui-Gon,
Yeah,
he stayed out there for like a year or so.
Ooh,
Just
this
watching
may
her
be in a
back,
book.
watching her back.
it may be.
protecting her.
I might want to check.
Yeah.
So I remember him saying that.
So he's had a thing for her for a while.
for a long time, for a long, long.
So
long
she
time.
wasn't the one night stand like the poor Jedi Padawans
No, that was
or
love.
the human.
Yeah.
But his last one was in his book Kenobi, and that's Adeline Cadwell, and she was a human on Tatooine. And in the book, he's protecting her all this time, her and her family, and he's you kind of get that feeling that yes, there's something going on between these two. And she kind of, you can tell in the book that she's really falling for him. So near the end of the book, he whispers in her ear, "I'm going to see you tonight." And I thought, ooh, I'm going to have to read that again. I actually
Star
got the
Wars smut. Okay,
I
let's do
actually
this.
got the chills from that. So I loved it. So that is my hot favorite couple. But also, when you want to talk about couples that seem like I can't get behind this,
Yeah.
was Asajj Ventress and Quinlanvos.
yeah.
Yeah,
Quinlanvos.
this one was in reading up on it, I thought, wow, these two, I can't see it happening, but I can see it happening.
It makes sense once
Yes.
once it's like not explained, but once it happens.
Once
it
all the
makes sense.
evilness is just swept to the
Well,
side.
you know, he goes undercover. He goes undercover and he becomes a bounty hunter. And then he finds her. You know, they meet up, and they start. You start seeing that there's a connection there with them,
Yeah.
and he actually finds himself telling her, "I'm a Jedi."
And that's what I
He's
keep telling you is that I don't understand how anyone could find her, even
attractive.
yes. Yeah.
Well, she is a Deathmere witch.
I mean,
She
that
can
would
put a
that
spell
would
on
keep
him.
me away alone. But yeah,
I always thought
That's
her
just-
and Obi-Wan would potentially
Me too.
hook
Well,
up.
especially because
they always had that
series.
chemistry.
Who knows?
Yeah.
He does have a list of ladies.
But no, they always had chemistry
If
together.
Obi-Wan's game was that strong to even pull or even have her, yeah, that would be crazy.
Well, you know, maybe he was attracted, but she wasn't. She
Mm.
wasn't. He wasn't her kind of guy. He's a very clean cut guy,
yeah,
and I don't think Quinlanvos is. I think he's a little bit more scruffy, a little bit more. He's a little
more
edgy.
crazy too.
Yeah, he's kind of
Yeah.
edgy. You know,
he's
almost
kind of like a daredevil. He's like
yeah.
he's a thrill seeker. Almost.
yeah,
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
almost Qui-Gon-ish, you know, because he's willing to step outside the line a little bit. The fact that he exposed himself to her, and I don't mean taking clothes off, I mean telling her that he is a Jedi. You know, he let her know what was going on. And she must have really cared for him because she did not say, you know, she did not go to Count Dooku and say, "Hey, by the way, this dude is, you know, so and so." She doesn't say that.
yeah.
But she ends up training him in the Night Sister culture, and then the dark side skills, and then they both try to kill Count Dooku, and they fail in that attempt, so they escape. But Count Dooku takes Quinlanvos and he pretty much kind of tortures him and then pushes him to the dark side. And then what happens with them is that now at this point, you have Anakin and you have Obi-Wan and you have Ventress working together to try and get Quinlanvos back. Because I think she wants him back. She's desperate. She's in love. She wants this man to be saved.
Yeah.
So she's willing to work with whoever it is to get him back. To get him back. And so when they go to get him, they fail again. I would say once you've failed, trying against Count Dooku, you should stop. There's got to be another. There should be another plan. There definitely should be another plan. But at the very end, she sacrifices herself because Dooku has the power that Palpatine had, was the lightning force in their hands. Yeah. And so he was going to kill Quinlanvos, and she jumped in front of it, and she got, she dies, and then he realizes, you know what? She sacrificed herself for me. She loved me so much. He actually goes back to the Jedi Temple, which, I mean, gosh, you can't write a better love story than that.
Jeez. The Star Wars love stories are just really deep.
I don't know about Jar Jar Binks, but...
I don't know about that guy either.
But he's definitely a player. So those are my couples. As far as kissing scenes, the odd one goes down as Luke and Leia.
Yeah.
And they kissed a couple times.
Yes, they did.
Twice.
Yes.
Twice.
And she kissed
one doesn't count, though.
Why?
The first one. Because
Because
it was just like, it's for luck.
Yeah, it's for luck. She had no idea when he was
That
hurt.
was like...
Oh, I don't know.
When he was hurt.
She didn't know in the medical lab either.
No,
And
but
she
that
gave
was
him
like, that was a
asshole
deliberate kiss. That was like,
Well,
hello.
that was like to rub it in Han's face.
Yeah.
I don't care, but there was lips touching lips and brother and sister.
I mean, he put his hands behind his head and everything.
See, it doesn't matter that we know or
How
that
did he
Lucas
not get
knew.
freaked out? But I would think you'd sense that.
It's a kiss, though. Like, it's still weird, it's still taboo.
It's
but
weird,
it's...
they-
out of everything that
Taboo.
could potentially happen between two people, unknowingly they're related, I'd say that one is pretty safe.
But the people that made out the most are Luke and Leia.
Taboo.
And and the ones that, the only Jedi we see in a bed, who is that?
Anakin.
Anakin. With no shirt on. And
We know.
yes, they're laying in the bed and he's got no shirt on.
Oh, no, it's Kylo Ren we see no shirt. I was like, who
No,
else?
he
Kylo
was-
Ren's,
no.
but he's not with anybody.
Yeah.
He's by himself.
I was just thinking because
Oh wait, is he with somebody?
I don't think so. He's just sweating by himself.
But is that when what I can't think of her name right.
Ray. Oh yeah,
It's when-
technically he was
yeah.
with somebody.
Yeah, he was. God, why
Not in a physical way, but they were seeing each other. He was
Yeah.
showing her what was up.
what was on its tatas, but yeah.
Like, look at me, I'm a buff hamster. That one counts a little bit.
Okay, so-
it was the most awkward part for me in the movie.
And,
to be honest.
I was thinking of Ray, and I'm like, wait, that's going right out of my head.
Yeah.
Okay, so who wants to go next?
Well, for as far as couples go, I'm gonna stick with Han and Leia. I mean, they're the originators for me.
He was a scoundrel.
Yeah, I mean, the love-hate for sure, it defines their relationship. But then, well, having episode 7 on right now, you definitely see how when they finally when they see each other at it's slipping my mind too on the base, the Alliance base, when they see each other, it's still the same, but it's different. Like, they put those years in together, but it's still same. There's still a little awkwardness. There's still, I don't know how to approach her.
I don't think these people ever lived together. I honestly don't, because it seemed they hooked up, obviously, but I mean, as far as living together, I don't know.
I think
if
they did. I
ever
think it was. I want to say it was mentioned in a book. Like, they did
for a short while.
Not for like a short while, but like they lived like for like a decade or so.
But in the EU,
And then-
I think it's a little bit longer and a little different.
Oh yeah, no, it's a lot more intimate in the EU. But like, I think in this timeline they did live with each other, and it was up until the whole Kylo Ren thing that he left to go like find himself or just be alone, and then they haven't seen each other in like years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give it to Han and Leia, just
Yeah.
because they're the couple I saw when I first started watching Star Wars. They're the couple I saw, and they stuck it out until
They're the couples you see on the shirts, man.
Exactly. Not only and there's people know them.
Yes.
People know Han and Leia. So I mean, it would be, for me, wouldn't it be right to have anyone else on there? And as far as like a kissing scene, I was talking about it before. Finn and Rose.
Yes.
Just because I didn't see it coming.
Yes.
They didn't really go on like too many adventures together. They just met. For her to feel this strongly about Finn, just more because Finn is like a hero. He can't. He's not a Jedi. He's brave. He's brave, but also he's not brave. Finn is like I see him as a brave guy. Don't get me wrong, but also timid at the same time.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Well, because you have to remember, these are a lot of things that he's being exposed to that he's never been exposed to.
Exactly that too. So
especially the kiss.
Yeah, exactly, and that's also why I gave it to him, because he didn't see it coming whatsoever.
But he does have, you're right about having maybe a thing for Rey, because remember, she's like, I've got to get back to Jakku. And he goes, well, why? He's
like, you have a boyfriend?
You have a boyfriend? You have a boyfriend? She goes, none of your business. But I think you kind of get that feeling that maybe he does have something for her, but doesn't really know how to express it.
And then you see Rey, you see Rey look over, and you see how Rose is like kind of just all over Finn, how when he's recovering.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna take you out.
Yeah, and, you know what I mean? She's just like, she can't really do anything about it. She's just respecting it from a distance. She's just respecting whatever it is she thinks they have going on. So that big triangle right there is also why that I'm going with that kiss too. Just the confusion. No one knows who likes who. Everyone's just, their emotions are just all over the place.
Aaron likes all that entanglement.
Yeah, because it adds
Imperial
something.
entanglement.
It adds something. It really does add something, because Jedi aren't even supposed to fall in love. Rey, you could consider Rey as a Jedi, but she hasn't really been through.
Right. She hasn't gone through the training, but she will now that she has the books.
You know what I mean? So it's like, is she gonna live her life by those rules? By the rules of like not being attached and not having a partner or whatever the case may be. So I'm interested in all that. With that one kiss, all those questions are raised for me. So I'm gonna go with that.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's mine.
I like it.
All right, David.
Okay, couples.
Okay, the robot chicken one. If you want to throw that in, go ahead.
I always liked the haunt. That was one of my favorite scenes of Robot Chicken. The haunt when Boba Fett's carrying back Han Solo frozen in carbonite, and he's like being all buff with him while he's frozen in carbonite, and then he gets all like, "Hello," he's like kissing him and stuff and rubbing his lips. But no, that's my honorable hilarious mention only because
it does count because it's Robot Chicken.
It's just so stupid. I love it.
But
my all-time favorite couple is Luke Skywalker and Mara Jade Skywalker from the old extended universe. Only because, she was the Emperor's hand. He was able to turn her, and then they had kid, all that stuff. And then it gets kind of really emotional for Luke Skywalker in the, between the 18-book series of the Fate of the Jedi and the Legacy of the Force and Fate of the Jedi, because she gets killed. And not only does she get killed by Luke's nephew. She gets killed by Jason Solo.
Wow.
In the books. So,
we're talking EU. We're not talking.
EU. Yeah, this is EU.
So I mean,
because they can take that.
This is old. Yeah, this is old EU. This is old. This is all legends.
Well, they could go back just like Ezra, and go through that porthole, change it,
and it hasn't been released yet. I haven't read it, but some of the people who have gotten the pre-copies and everything, apparently the novelization of Episode 8 makes mention to Luke having a wife and everything. So we'll see if they're bringing Mara Jade in or if it was someone else.
I would love to see that. Yeah. I would love to see it. And at that point, he's like technically the last Jedi.
Yeah.
Even though Leia could be, and
that's what the whole thing. She
does prove it going through the window and coming back.
That tripped me out.
Well, it's the thing.
Talk about that real quick. How that tripped me out.
Please do.
When I remember, because I feel like we didn't even address that on the show. Well, there was no need to, but just really quick, when that happened, I want to know what you guys were thinking in that moment in time. Did you guys think it was? Because I thought it was all over. I was like, oh my God,
did
they're
too.
just hitting us with this shit right now. Like, oh my gosh.
I didn't.
You didn't. You
only
did.
because
I did. I actually thought, that was how they were going to kill her off.
Me too. I thought that was it. I really did. Honest to God, I thought that was it. Were you guys tripping out when she
came back through the window? Yes.
It's not more so if she came back to life after seeking medical attention, or she was out for a couple of days in a coma or something. That's different. She really did some insane force
Yeah, because she came back through space.
You gotta remember, she is just as powerful as Luke Skywalker. She just
and
doesn't have
there
training.
she proves it.
But you never really, you don't see it.
No.
We know
because she didn't
Smith
want. She. It's not like she didn't want to be a part of the Force. She chose a life of military and politics because that's where she was needed.
Yeah.
Because she literally has a twin who could do the exact opposite.
Yeah, exactly.
In the Jedi.
But she proved that she has got power that we do not know.
That really, because I could tell you honestly, I remember the theater being dead silent, like, and when I mean dead silent, and then when she came back alive and just floated back in, everybody was like, "Oh!" Like,
believe me, we were doing it too.
No, I like that.
I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
No, I like that scene. I know a lot of people give it crap. I like the scene that because it's showing you how powerful the Force can be to survive without atmosphere, to be able to go.
Come on,
pull yourself
Qui-Gon
back.
and Yoda were Force ghosts.
But
they
I
had that ability.
I just didn't like the style of that scene. I think it was way too static in the sense that she wasn't really moving.
But she couldn't. She was frozen.
Yeah,
she was frozen, but she willed herself back in.
But I mean, I still liked it
was
because
crazy.
it shows. It just showed how it shows you how powerful the Force is, and you don't have to be trained. Like I hear a lot of times of people going, "Oh,
No, you
Leia
don't
wasn't a Jedi, or Finn wasn't a Jedi." It doesn't matter if you're a Jedi or not. That's not what the Force is. There's Sith, there are non-Jedis, there are Jedis.
I think what
it's
they're
a spectrum of it. A Jedi is just it's literally a religion.
But I think what they're maybe alluding to is the fight scenes. You do have to be trained as a Jedi to know how to use the lightsaber.
Yeah.
Because well, I don't know, Luke.
It's arguable because in old canon, it used to be you had to be Force sensitive to a certain degree to even turn on a lightsaber. That's not the case anymore. Between Clone Wars, Rebels, and even Episode 7 with Finn, there's numerous people who've turned on lightsabers without being Force sensitive.
Well, they had to have had.
There is lightsaber training, but Rey doesn't have lightsaber training, and she's just as good with lightsaber because she still has melee combat.
Well, that may
training.
go back to the Old Republic because the first Jedi, the Jedi, they built these lightsabers and they didn't have any training. Yeah. They did it, they did the training themselves. So maybe that's what it's going back to.
It's like
the old one. But as far as the wife, I'm talking about, Luke having a wife. There's no rules because there's no Jedi Temple to establish that.
Yeah, and even the books he got could clearly establish that in the old ancient text that there was no rule ever against marriage or anything, which I guarantee you that's
and
the case.
And no rules against hooking up.
And that, like I said, it's just it wasn't until like the era of the Clone Wars and maybe a few hundred years or if not 1,000 years or so before that. That's when the marriage law came into effect.
Well, it could have come into effect when Yoda became the Grand Master.
We don't know, but
he could have said no marriage. I'm not doing it. Nobody's doing it.
Because you got to remember those books aren't the philosophy that at least is alluded to in those books, and that ancient Jedi Temple is the Force and the Jedi are not 100% light side beings. It's an amalgam of understanding how to use know how to use both sides of the Force.
Right.
That's what Episode 8 was all about. It was about balance between Force. It wasn't light is better than dark, dark is better than light. It was literally a balance. So if you just extrapolate off of that, of course you're going to realize things that emotion is okay. It depends how you use it. Marriage is okay because attachments give you emotion, and if you use that, So I think that's where it's going towards.
Yeah, it's a different avenue.
Yeah,
it's a different avenue
it's
because
just just to say it's literally a religion. What Christianity is now, completely different from what it was 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, etc.
Yeah, true.
So I mean, it evolves. That's why when people say stuff like, "Oh, Jedi can't marry," it's like, well, they can't marry in this part, but they could have then. They could have now. Like, because I remember that was a thing too.
Just
like,
in that 1,000-year reign of peace, that's when they said no marriage. Can you imagine all those poor people? But they were hooking up in the temple, apparently.
Yeah, and that's just one of the cool things that we're going to get, more information on is now that the timeline is being rebuilt, whether it's through books, comics, and more movies. We're going to learn more about the Jedi. We're going to learn about more when these dynamic shifts happen, why they happen, who instigated them. Because all we know is that we don't know. All we know is that at one point in the timeline, Jedi couldn't marry. Or couldn't have emotional attachments to anybody.
But prior to that, they could.
And then after that, they could. So we don't know.
Because in Old Republic, they could.
Yeah.
And in the beginning of the Jedi, setting that up, they did. They were able to marry. They were able to, even Jedi marrying Jedi kind of thing. Sith hooked up with the Jedi that were stranded on that planet on the
On Korban.
Korban.
The Jedi exiles.
Yeah.
Korban, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although those people were not very good looking, they had all this funny stuff hanging off their faces. So I'm
Some of them were born without, though. Some were just born red
or
skin.
the tentacles.
Yeah. Because like my characters I play in the Old Republic all of them are Sith. They're that
And they don't have the
species.
tentacles?
And mine don't have tentacles. They just have a little bit of ridge. Like I can't say it. If people know what the Bajorans are from Star Trek, they look really human, but they just have like these little
How dare you
ridges
talk
on
about
their
this?
It's nerd stuff. It's okay.
He gets a pass.
But we
here.
got top. But yeah, Luke Skywalker and Mara Jade were my couple. Honestly,
Is it Mara J or is it
I mean, I pronounce it both Mara and
Potato,
Mara.
potato,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you pronounce potato, I'm going to punch you in the throat. Just kidding. But no, yeah. I don't think
or
there's-
tomato, tomato?
I think
or-
Mara Jade it sounds good both ways. Mara Jade and Mara Jade. But yeah, that was my favorite one. Only because she's a badass in multiple respects, but it's just it's
I
more
couldn't
so the
imagine
history.
him being with anybody less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She would have to be, one bad, mofo in order for it to be his standard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some good stuff there. If you guys haven't read any of the books with her in them,
We're in the process.
I recommend them.
I'm in the process.
I recommend them. As for favorite kissing scene, I don't have a favorite kissing scene, but I have a favorite scene that
The
previously-
robot chicken one was yours.
That's a good one. But my favorite kissing scene of all time is I don't mind the kiss if it exists or it didn't exist. I'm fine with it. It's Episode 5. Han Solo's getting ready to be frozen in carbonite, and Leia kisses him. Stormtroopers pull Han Solo away. All that part's irrelevant. What matters to me is Leia looking at her, we go, "I love you," and him just going, "I know," and going down to the carbonite chamber. That's like the most romantic scene ever in Star Wars.
I
for
wonder why
numerous
he
reasons.
doesn't say "I love you" back.
He's Han Solo.
That's actually the reason. There's an actual
Solo,
in the
man.
script.
He's like, "Man, you can't tie me down, baby. You can't tie me
You
down."
have to say the coolest shit. He's
And
Han Solo. That's the coolest shit you can say.
In the script, it was written, Leia, I love you. Han Solo, I love you too. And Irvin Kershner, the director, filmed that scene multiple times. Like, cut,
it just
do it
didn't
again, cut,
fit, just
do it
didn't-
again. And he said, "That's not Han Solo. Don't even think about it. Action." And Harrison Ford's response was, "I know." And,
Exactly.
And he was like, "Perfect. That's it. We don't need anything else." Because that's Han Solo. And,
Right.
and then that's why you get the funny flip-flop in Return of the Jedi where Han Solo says, "I love you," and Leia goes, "I know," and shoots a stormtrooper.
Yeah, because it seems like Padme and Anakin and Leia and Han Solo are the only ones really macking. Those are the ones you see 95% of the time really
that's
going
why,
at it.
That's why it was like really like easy for me to pick Han Solo and Leia. I went and
I wanted to go on the fringes.
I went and I dug and like looked up stuff that I didn't know, but I wasn't sure if I would, because those are the OGs, those are the originals. Yeah.
There's different couples. I mean, we were talking about it earlier, like Jar Jar Binks and Julia. I didn't expect her to kiss him.
My friend actually just sent me a screenshot of, from the game, the Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, Galen Merrick, Starkiller, and Juno Eclipse.
Oh yeah, that's a
So
good,
was
that's a
an
good one
honorable
too.
mention.
I
Shout out
like
to my
the
friend Darius.
names.
Yeah, shout out to my friend Darius who just sent me that. He was like, "Mention this one just for me." So I'm like, "Okay."
Okay, give
Honorable mention Galen Merrick and Juno Eclipse.
Yes.
That's a good one actually.
That's a good one. It is a good one. I completely forgot
Now this
about
is
that.
from the game, right?
This is
Because
from- this is from the game.
I'm not
My
a gamer.
honorable mention would be
This is from the game.
and it would almost trump Leia and not Leia, Mara Jade and Luke, but it doesn't, only because they have way more content, more lore, more stuff to like sink your teeth into. But it would be Revan and Bastila Shan from Knights of the Republic.
Oh wow.
I love Revan. The costume is just one.
Yeah, I haven't seen like one clean. You guys probably have, but I haven't seen like a dope Revan costume.
I have a friend who's a Revan.
Okay.
Yes, and he's part of he's part of the Saber Guild, and he's also part of the New Order.
I've seen some good Revans, but they're not of the iteration of the costume I like.
Oh,
Because
okay.
there's
With the big-
technically
with
two.
the big-
Yeah, there's the one from the Old Republic, the MMO, where it's like has the big buckle on it and everything, same mask and all that. But before that, in Knights of the Republic, and this is all because of graphic design and all that, what you can do now as opposed to what you could do, he has this just almost bare bones robes that are armored too. That, like I said, it's because of what you could develop now in video games compared to then. That's why they look so different and why this one's more detailed. But that one is way better looking.
So you're saying that
the original incarnation
and what's her name?
Bastila
Shan. Ooh, I like the name.
The name.
Yes, Bastila Shan. Yeah, these two hooked up apparently a lot.
Oh yeah, they have heirs in the Old Republic. They have Satele Shan. She was responsible for, after sacking a Coruscant, for rebuilding.
You mean they have children?
Yeah, she's not her child though. I think.
Man, Revan broke all kinds of rules. He's like, you know what? I'm a Jedi. I'm a Sith. I'm hooking up with this lady. I don't care.
If I was a Jedi, I think I would exactly live the same way. I think I wouldn't obey
on the fringes.
I think I wouldn't obey any of the certain rules.
I think a lot of them didn't. I think a lot of them, because even Qui-Gon.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon is with Talia, if I'm saying that
rules
right.
are meant to be broken or bending a little bit. So.
Well, I mean, I think it keeps their head clear. Yeah. You know, you've got women and men that are attracted to each other in the temple.
Yeah.
You know, they're not going to they're going to go into the bushes and get
all the shit you go through as a Jedi. You need some TLC.
That. Yes.
Yeah. There's no doubt about it.
And I mean, if it's from the opposite sex, why not?
Well, I mean, in the MMO, the Old Republic, so Satele Shan is an heir of Bastila Shan and Revan. She has a son named Theron Shan.
Who is he from?
And he's from a Republic trooper, actually. There's there's a trooper. He's like one of the main. I forget his name. He's one of like the main trooper guys out of in the storm of the faceless troopers.
So she hooks up with a clone.
Yeah, but not a clone.
Oh wow.
Oh,
they're not clones at this point. But it was in this time Jedi are allowed to do stuff like that. And you gotta remember, I think she was even the Grand Master of the Order too. I know she was a Jedi Master. I know she was a council member. I think she was a Grand Master.
We're gonna have to Google that.
But
yeah.
A lot of Googling.
They just frowned upon it. It wasn't like illegal. It was just like, you shouldn't have done that.
Well,
but it's okay that you know, like.
But in the Old Republic, they allow it, so it's not frowned upon. They allowed it.
Well, no, they still frown. It's like, it's like me going outside and I have spit in my mouth and I spit. It's not illegal. Just some people frown upon it.
Yeah.
But there's nothing they could do about it.
Yeah.
That's what it was like.
Maybe that's what it was like in the temple too.
Yeah, maybe.
It was frowned upon.
But at least in that iteration of Legends, I mean, she reproduced and
Obi-Wan was ahead of everybody.
Obi-Wan was definitely the taskmaster.
Oh, yes. And since, like I said, since him and I are involved.
Angie was also at the temple.
Yes, I wish.
We get Angie one of those body pillows, like anime body pillows.
No, I'm sorry, no.
We wouldn't do the podcast if we did.
He's just my man. He's very sexy.
Yes, I agree.
And Ian McGregor rides a motorcycle, so that's a big plus.
Shout out to Ewan McGregor.
Yes, just because he gets on a motorcycle.
It's funny, one of my favorite Ewan McGregor roles is not Obi-Wan. There's one that trumps it.
The train spotting one?
Nope. Oh. Nobody will ever guess it in this room, at least.
I want to know what it is.
It's me too.
From a movie with Jim Carrey called I Love You, Philip Morris. It's based on a true story about...
exactly what you're talking about.
Jim Carrey plays this guy who's like one of the most successful con artists of all time. He's like he escaped from prison like numerous times in the craziest ways. But no, they're a gay couple. And Ewan McGregor plays his partner, and it's just...
I just can't get behind that.
It's just it's a great movie in general, but Ewan McGregor's acting in it is so great because he uses a Southern accent too.
Oh wow! And he has such a good English.
Yeah,
accent.
That's my favorite Ewan McGregor role, only because of it was so out of line of everything else he did, and he did it so well that I was like, bravo.
Yes, it seems like he's a man of all.
If you are an adult, though, that is an adult movie.
Sure.
Yes,
not because of gay stuff, but it is an adult movie due to content. I recommend highly watching it because it's very good.
I don't know.
It's
I don't
a very
good
story.
Yeah.
I've never watched Train Spotting either, so I mean,
Train Spotting's good.
I'm not a big. I don't want to see drug addicts and stuff. It's hard enough, I see that in where we live. So.
Yeah. Train Spotting's a good movie though. A lot of Ewan McGregor's movies are really good.
Yes.
But like I just said, that one, I Love You, Philip Morris, is extremely well written, extremely well acted, and like I said, it's a role you'd never expect to see him in.
See, we got into the kissing couples, and it led to this. It led to this.
See, it all has a path
to the Jedi Temple.
That dirty temple.
Oh my gosh. Did Yoda even realize all this was going on?
No,
Did
of course he
realize?
knew.
Oh, I don't know.
He probably just didn't
He
care.
didn't know that
think it was
Palpy
just-
was the Dark Lord. Come on.
You would think so. He heard footsteps or lightsabers. You know what I mean? You would
I don't think they turned on
Think
their
about it this way.
lightsabers.
think about it this way. It would have been impossible, literally impossible, for him not to know anything was going on. So he knew at least some stuff was going on, whether he did something about it and it's just not in lore yet, or whether he just was blasé about it and was like,
You know what?
you
If
know.
he's meditating, he's not paying attention. Or if he's teaching kids in the map room, he's
Yeah.
not hearing what's going on.
Which I hear is the best time to sneak into one of them.
Because he's with the kids in the
Yeah, remember that Jedi Temple is a massive place too.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, it is.
yes, especially in the
I
library.
don't know about you,
Yeah.
but in cities, I have seen people getting things on in public in alleys. I'm pretty sure people can hide and pull a quick 5 minutes behind a pillar or something. So,
At the Jedi Temple.
At the Jedi Temple.
But apparently it was going on all over the place because you know you had Asajj Ventress and Voss, you know.
Yeah.
I just figured out one of my
getting together.
extracurricular activities in the Jedi Temple would be not that exclusively, but it would be like
Spying on everybody?
no. It would be like, where's the most like egregious, outrageous place I can get it done at? Like, oh, nobody's in the council chambers right now. Quick, let's go. They don't have another meeting for an hour. Like, just trying to.
Oh, that would be like if you did it there, that would be horrible because
It would be.
because that is like the most sacred place in the Jedi Temple. So no, I don't think they wanted to break the rules, but not really. What word could I say? You know,
They're not defying the Jedi Order. They're just
defiling the
they're following
Deflowering
basic
the
human.
Jedi.
I don't really-
deflowering.
They're following
the
basic
Jedi
human
Council.
nature. They're following basic human nature. Not
Exactly.
human nature as a species, but what we
But
acknowledge
remember,
as consciousness.
there's like in what was it? Oh my gosh, Galaxy Guardians of the Galaxy.
Galaxy, yeah,
he had a
yeah.
crush on the girl that was green.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
no,
Oh,
he was with,
Gamora.
but he was with the girl that was she orange?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So
But that's Star Lord. He was banging everybody. That's like he's like the Han Solo of that universe. Like he was the Han Solo Hugh Hefner. May he rest
Was
in
he?
peace. Yeah, like that's like his kind of thing is like he's a swashbuckler. He's
Yeah.
sleeping
Getting with the
around,
girls.
but he has the one he's in love with.
but they are, what I'm saying is he was hooking up with different species.
Jeez. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so
Nothing weird in that.
I think that's I think that's maybe what was happening at
A
the
role
temple
model of
too.
mine.
Hooking up with a different species.
I mean, you think about it, in every iteration of some form of science fiction fantasy, Star Wars, Star Trek, Guardians of the Galaxy, Marvel stuff, that's how you could tell, like, one of the purposes of these stories is to show you that humanity is greater than it is now, is because things like sleeping and marrying other species, like on this Earth right now, if we had other aliens come and visit us where they look exactly
I
like
don't
us
know
and
if
they were
I-
green,
Oh, well,
Like-
I can speak for myself.
I'm not sure.
Well,
man.
I think I can. I think if I met a dope, a cool girl from Saturn or something, I'll settle down.
And she was good looking. And
Hey, I mean,
who cares if she's got 3 ears?
exactly. I
exactly.
know.
That's the thing. Like,
More ears for me to lick.
but it's funny because like if it's just a cool social experiment, because if these people, whether it was one race or 10 races, whether they looked exactly like us, it was the whole like Star Wars, Star Trek thing where they just had different color, like
Well,
immediately
you
it
have
would
to
be
talk about,
outlawed, at least in this country.
Well,
Like, you
in
can't
Star
marry
Trek-
a Treflokian or whatever the hell we name them.
Well, back in the day, we're talking about the 1960s. I don't think they really had that capability for CGI.
No,
and all those
that's
different
why.
things, so
Yeah,
that's-
I mean, if you one of the
But what
coolest
was
things.
the green girl? She was the slave girl
From which? From what?
from Star Trek.
From Star Trek?
Yeah, the very first ones with Captain Kirk.
Oh, the Orions.
Was it Orion? The Orion slave girl. Now, don't you find it crazy that what do we see in Star Wars? The Twerkles.
Yeah,
They're green.
Yeah, they're green. Yeah,
There's a little bit of a similarity
yeah,
there.
similarity.
Yeah.
for sure, for sure.
There's a lot of green. Like there's the Marillion.
There's a lot of green people. Yes.
Yeah, there's the Twi'leks. Some of them are green. One of them, like the literal Star Wars to Star Trek one is the Marillions. They're
Marillions,
green,
yeah,
but they just
yeah.
have some facial tattoos that
Yeah,
changed.
yeah.
Barriss Offrey and her master were Marillions,
What? Really?
Yeah. and they're just green, but they look exactly human.
I
Like,
think she was greenish yellow.
yeah, but
she
like
had
their
the-
skin changes a little bit, but they're in that green to like turd greenish kind of
Yes.
spectrum.
Yeah, I'm all for different species.
Oh yeah,
I'm all for
And
different
apparently
species.
they were at the temple as
yeah. This is a great conversation.
well, we've had fun doing it, so
We did.
and I don't mean it like that.
Now I was about to say Patrick.
No pun
Brown.
intended. What a great episode.
It's like it's not video recorded yet. You have no idea what we're doing over here.
But is there anybody else? Is there any other couple that you can think of?
I mean, there's a bunch I could think of, but the ones I mentioned are my favorite because, like, those are the ones that.
I want to know now. I'm in the know.
well, the ones I mentioned were the ones that are special because there's just like a lot of blasé, miscellaneous. Of course, these people hooked up sort of thing. But the ones that actually all of us mentioned are the ones that are
We've seen in Clone Wars or we've seen in
they're
Star
all
Wars.
like they all have some form of symbological, philosophical, emotional attachment that's just not person A is with person B. There's something behind it, and there are things at work that make those relationships special and not just relationships. So
But
that's
there
why
were-
I chose certain ones and not just either because like even Han Solo and Leia, that's borderline. If Han Solo wasn't Han Solo mentally, that would be another boring relationship. But since they are like
Since
since
he
it's
was
like
the
a
smuggler?
dichotomy
Yeah,
between the two
yeah.
of them, since they love each other for who each other are, but they're two vastly different people.
Right.
Same thing with Padme and Anakin, et cetera, et cetera. That's what makes those relationships special. It's not just two people loving each other because they love each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Yoda had to have seen, as far as Padme and Anakin, he had to kind of had to know, in being around 900 years
Well,
or
here's a
800
good thought
years,
we
he
can
had
leave.
to.
Here's a good thought we can leave off with for the podcast and have everybody think about. Marriage, the outlawing of marriage in the Jedi Order is what destroyed the Jedi.
That's true.
Because if Anakin was allowed to reproduce and love and not have to hide it.
That's why I feel like, not even to cut you off, D, but that's
No,
why I
yeah.
feel like along the years, I was even talking to like one of my sister's friends about this, who's a huge Star Wars fan. I felt like the Jedi, they were infiltrated from a long time ago to prevent this from happening.
It's like in the code.
You know what I mean? To prevent more Jedi, more Jedi from happening, and with that happening, less Jedi is easier for the for the Sith to go along with their.
That's like
Right,
since they're not
right.
reproducing
Saying,
at a
you-
100%, we know we can
Exactly.
make
But if
more
they had been
uh,
allowed to be together,
Oh man,
none of that would have happened.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's funny because at least the Jedi code we all go with says if you follow this code, everything will be all right. Essentially, the Jedi will prosper. This is what life is, and
Take a lot of cold showers.
and the one person who betrays that code is Anakin Skywalker. And if just one line, there is no emotion, was pulled out of that Jedi code, none of it would have been interpreted this way, and the Jedi would not have fallen.
But remember, he's sitting there when they are leaving. They had to leave through regular transportation, and he's saying, she's asking, "Are you allowed to love?"
Yeah, unconditionally.
Yes.
Because unconditionally is...
just love.
They're encouraged to love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just
make
not allowed
love,
to
but
have...
Make love. You
It's
can
like
love. You can love.
they're allowed to do it because that's what's funny about the Jedi is they say one thing, and then 2 weeks later about the same subject they'll say the exact opposite, but from a different point of view with a different little philosophy. And it's the same thing. Like there is no emotion, there's peace, but they want you to have emotion. They just don't want you to have attachments. They want everything. You don't want your emotions to be
But we can
unconditional.
tell
and that-
it
that's
didn't
impossible.
work. It didn't work.
Exactly.
Because it's pretty much impossible to.
Yes.
You can
And it's
have
funny
you
because-
can have attachment, but
Because
you can't.
those two people brought down the temple because
Yeah.
of their actions brought a 1,000-year reign to an end.
And I implore everybody to read the Jedi Code
I'm going to.
and actually think about it because it is completely self-destructive. They say
I
there is no
refuse to believe
emotion.
that.
There is no emotion. There's peace. Well, there is emotion, and there is not peace. There is never a time, whether in our world here or in the galaxy, that there is not peace. And it keeps going on. There is There is no ignorance. There is only knowledge. There is ignorance. Ignorance causes a lack of peace. Ignorance is fueled by emotion. Then there are a lot of people.
This coming from a man
it's-
who said the Sith code was better.
The Sith code makes sense.
It's
the Sith code doesn't.
More realistic.
Somebody's been hanging around with Palpatine.
Like I said, if I woke up tomorrow and we were in the world of Star Wars and I had a choice to join the Sith or Jedi, I would
I'd join the
Jedi every time. But no, the Sith code isn't. I'm trying to think of the word. I'm really tired right now. It's the Jedi code is. See, I just can't think. It's hypocritical. That's what it is. It's hypocritical, and
I'm making a boo-boo face right now. What?
And it constantly, every line, the two passages of every line, and then the line after it can be destroyed by just using basic thinking. The Sith code, while it is a destructive Sith code, peace is a lie. There's only passion. That is true because we all want peace, but peace can never be attained.
But I don't know how the Sith code even works because you know what? There's only two, and at one point,
that's because
Palpatine
the Sith code
made it only one.
That's because the Sith code and Rule of Two are two different things. Like you got the codes are not so much how everything works; it's how to be a Jedi and how to be a Sith.
I think that should be one of our next episodes: is the disagreeing or the agreeing.
Oh,
could you see yourself living by?
Oh, those codes.
By those codes.
Like you can think about it. If you try and live by the Jedi code, that'd be the most difficult thing to do. If you try to live by a Sith code, peace is a lie. There's only passion. Okay, passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Okay, that makes sense. My emotions fuel me, whether for good or bad. Through strength, I gain power. Depending on how you define power to, whether it's political power, war power, whatever, makes sense too. Through power, I gain victory. That's obvious because you need power to attain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. I'm no longer a slave to anything. The Force frees me. It makes sense. And you could even take that code and live by the Sith code as a Jedi, still doing things for good. Yeah, exactly. Still doing things for good, but you won't have that hypocrisy. You won't have that illusion of, and you won't have that almost as Obi-Wan says it. Well, I told you what I thought was true from a certain point of view. That's what the whole Jedi Code is about. It's written in a way to where you can justify anything from any explanation.
And they justified marrying and hooking up and everything else from a certain point of view.
Just like this podcast.
Yeah, I think we should do that as an episode soon as Jedi and Sith codes.
We definitely will. But next week, we're going to be talking about your favorite time in the galaxy, whether it be Old Republic, be the Republic, or the New Order.
Yeah, like the New Order Resistance era.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. I can dig it.
So we're going to be talking about that, your favorite time. So thank you all for listening today, and we will see you next time.
Later, guys.
Bye.